if I don't say this right, people are going to be upset. And I already know, I just know that people are going to chastise me for even doing this video. They're going to claim things that just aren't true. What I'm referring to is a situation that you may find yourself in, if not today, that at some point in the future, you may have found yourself in this situation at some point in the past. You may know someone who's in the situation or will be in the situation at some point in the future. And what is it? Possibly switching from using Windows as your primary OS to using Mac OS 10. I'm not saying it's going to happen to everybody, but I tell you, look at the numbers. Look at the trends. Look up here. Look up here. It's curiosity that ultimately won me over. And as, I guess, a lifelong user of Windows, I just kind of felt like I was ready to expand my horizons. I wanted to learn more. I started playing around with Linux a lot more. Mac OS 10 is still playing inside the world of Windows. I can't wait to see the next version of Windows. I've mentioned that before. But despite saying this, despite trying to take a very balanced approach to hardware and software, I'm sure those of you who are uncomfortable with my decision are going to attack me. You're going to project your own inadequacies onto me. You're going to say stupid things like, well, that OS sucks, or that OS is this, or you can't do that on this OS. Dude, look, until you are me, you can't tell me what I can choose for myself, and vice versa. It's one of the reasons why I find it so difficult when you guys email me and ask me what you should get. I mean, I don't know. You tell me what you want. What do you want? You want that? Get it. And I know a lot of you have emailed me and said, you know, Chris, I'm thinking about possibly getting my first Mac. I still want to use Windows. Like, you're apologizing for it. Well, what do you got to apologize for? Don't be sheepish about it. You make your own decisions. I mean, I'm happy for you no matter what you decide on. No matter what. No OS is perfect. But if you find yourself in a situation where you're moving from Windows to a Mac, you're probably going to be a little upset. I'm going to say it. You'll be upset. Because you'll be expecting a Windows-like experience. And you'll be like, oh, what's the menu bar doing at the top of the screen? Why is the bottom this way? It's not as scary. Yeah, it is different. But different isn't always bad. Sometimes changing the way you approach software can change your whole life. In some ways, it can make it easier. In some ways, it can make it more difficult, depending on how open you are to understanding it's not going to be the same experience, okay? But there may be some features inside of Windows that you miss. And when I was, surfing around looking for software, suddenly I started to pick up a few, and I've got 3 or 4 of them here to highlight for you, a few tools that I believe may help you feel more comfortable making the switch from Windows to a Mac. Now, I don't mean all the software that everybody recommends. I've already posted my top 100 Mac apps. I've already posted my top 50 reasons you might switch from Windows to a Mac. It's not for everybody, okay? Don't attack me because I'm impervious to it. I don't care, okay? I try everything. I use everything. I've got PCs in my office. I got Macs in my office. Hey! I'm more balanced than a lot of people are, and I'm good. So, the freeware. This is what you want to pay attention to. When you right-click inside an Explorer window, you've got the new menu, and out from there cascades, make a new text document, Word document, PowerPoint presentation, etc., etc. The new menu. And some people miss that in Mac OS 10. But if you download from coldpizzasoftware.com, a free utility called Document Palette, it will essentially give you the same feature. In fact, you can configure what documents show up in that list. New text document, new internet shortcut, new whatever. You can configure it from the control panel. It's just a keyboard shortcut away. So you don't need to right-click anything. It's just a keyboard shortcut. But let's say you do miss that screensaver kicked in there. Sorry about that. Oh, by the way, I get my screensavers from jwz.org. That's a little, bonus tip right here in the middle. If you don't like the way Document Palette works, but you still want that new menu cascading out from the context menu, that's the right-click menu. You can try another piece of freeware called NuFile. That's N-U-F-I-L-E. And that can be found at growlichat.com. macOS10.com, and that will add a new entry to your context menu that will allow you to have a new text file, new HTML file, etc., etc. You can configure the new documents from there. Very, very much, I think, built for those of you who would miss that new, quote-unquote, new menu inside of macOS 10 if you got used to it inside of Windows. That will help bridge the gap. The next one, I fell in love with instantaneously. I couldn't believe that the Mac didn't have this. Inside of Windows, it's easy to change registered file types. Not so easy in Mac OS X, at least on a mass scale. It's easy to change a document type and preference by pulling up the information window for a particular file. I'll get into that tip later, but what I want to mention here is a utility called MISFOX. That's MISFOX. And you can Google for it and probably pull it up. It says MISFOX, missing internet settings for X. And it's got file mappings, default applications, protocol helpers, helping you configure what applications open by default for either a protocol or file mapping. I mean, it's a wonderful tool for power users, or potentially for troubleshooting an issue with file types and managing that, whether it's on your machine or another person's machine. Really, really, I would consider now an essential part of your tool belt in Mac OS X. The next one is, I guess, the third and final. I kind of put the I'd put document palette and new file kind of one and the same. They just do it differently. The last one I know a lot of you have asked for. How can you configure your sounds in Mac OS X? It's easy to do in Windows. You just go to Windows, you change your theme, blah, 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 blah. Well, I stumbled upon this last night, and I don't mean stumble upon social network. I just happened upon it on the internet. Bleep Blop. Go to bleepblop.isnot, or isnot, isnot.tv. bleepblop.isnot.tv. Is it isnot or isnot? I don't know. Either way, this will allow you to configure the sounds on your Mac and allow you to save out themes and share themes. In fact, you can even download themes on the site. You can, the bundles, or they call it the blundles. The first blundle that's listed, you're going to love this, a Nintendo DS. You can make your Mac sound like a Nintendo DS with the freeware Blip Blop. You can make it sound like Napoleon Dynamite, StarCraft, Nintendo Wii, Zelda, or 24. Or you can create your own sound scheme. Bleepblop. Okay, I'm sure it is not, but I'm just going to say isnot anyway. .tv. Bleepblop. Just love that. This is just great. So there's 3 missing utilities that are going to help, well, anybody, whether you ever used Windows before or you're switching from Windows to a Mac. And I know you're going to be looking for equivalents. Are you going to find equivalents every step of the way? Maybe, maybe not. These tools, though, the reason why I'm highlighting them in this video and what I'm going to ask you for is because they very much are like features that are built into Windows but don't necessarily exist on the surface in Mac OS X without the help of tools. 3 very helpful tools, or potentially 4, that are going to help anybody who would be considering making the switch if they haven't already, or they know someone who's in the same boat. My email address is chris@pirillo.com. Feel free to make other recommendations. Seriously, I'm always on the lookout for things that I've never seen before, and I'd never heard of any of these before. Just kind of came upon myself, thought I'd owe it to you to share them. So feel free to make other recommendations, in a similar capacity, similar light. You're also welcome to stop by the website, no matter what computer or operating system you're using, so long as you have Flash, and that'll work in about just every desktop operating system, at least modern desktop operating system. I don't know if it would work if you're still using a Commodore 64 or a VIC-20, but don't know, don't want to pass judgment. Suppose you could use something. I don't know. It's been so long. It's been so long since I've even seen you. Why don't you ever stop by anymore? Oh, that's right, because you haven't. Well, join us in the chat room. We're typically talking tech 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.